Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Season 2 of Fully Unscripted. I know it's been, well, we're damn near close to being done with college football, and we're almost halfway done through the NFL schedule. But as you see, we've got a new studio behind us. Todd's been working his ass off to get this ready for us, and so we didn't want to, put out, content that we felt like that could be looked better, I guess. So Todd's been busting his ass down here getting the studio ready. We've actually got some of the games up right here. We're actually filming on a Sunday, so hopefully this will get out Monday. That's the plan. Watching the Browns and the Steelers right now. But we're going to keep this short, sweet, and simple today. Sorry, tongue twisters on that one, Todd. But, we're going to talk about Kentucky football and what the disappointment it's been so far this season after losing last night to South Carolina 17-14 in Columbia. And then we're also going to talk about some Kentucky basketball, maybe some picks on this Monday night game coming up in the Kelsey Bowl, which I will have to watch on mute. And, we'll get it out of here.
Wait, who's calling it?
Who's calling what?
You said you'll have to watch it on mute. Why?
Because it's a Kelsey Bowl.
Oh, just because they're going to okay.
All they're going to talk about is your girl Taylor Swift and his brother being nominated for Sexiest Man Alive. So I think that's all we're going to hear. So, but anyways, this sports, never mind. Anyways,
Long
this
Saturday?
Yeah. Anyways, this podcast starts right now. Talking about Kentucky football, dude, it's been I would say overall, as a fan, from a fan's perspective, I guess it'd be pretty disappointing considering what we had coming in as far as a hype into this season. We all expected Devin Leary to be touted as one of the best, if not the best quarterback that Mark Stoops has ever had in his career. We got Liam Cohen back. We were kind of reminiscing on the days of Will Levis and Wan'Dale Robinson and those guys back in 21 of seeing what Liam Cohen's offense did. But at the same time, it's a different team. It's a different arm back there. There's different guys around him. And it's just not lived up to the expectations I think that most fans have had looking into the season. You're 6-5 on the season right now, and you play a red-hot Louisville team next week who, if they get a chance to put up 50 on us, I think they're going to, try to run the score up as much as they can, considering after these shellackings they've been taking the last 5 years from us. So it's been very overanalyzed, I think, coming into this season. But Todd, we'll talk about it. I know that, last night going into a team like South Carolina, it's a game that we saw the spread swing from Kentucky. I believe they were -1.5 to start out on the books. And then by the game time, it was Kentucky plus 2.5. So that's a full, possession swing right there. I don't know what Vegas saw. There wasn't any significant injuries, I don't think, but that's a big swing on that one, and they end up winning, by 3. So I guess South Carolina covered.
Yeah, you mean Kentucky ended up losing by 3 is what you meant?
Yeah,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah. So sorry, the way you worded that just threw me off. But yeah, it's it's a conundrum watching this football team play this year. We're at a disappointing 6-5. Devin Leary didn't pan out to be quite the quarterback that we expected him to be. Which the hype's not necessarily fair most of the time.
No, it's not. And I was telling somebody this the other day, like, you don't hear about it. You didn't hear about it as much when social media really wasn't a thing, when everybody has, an opinion, to where, like, they're going to read one sports writer say, oh, this is going to be, the best team and the best Kentucky quarterback that Coach Stoops has ever had. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to tweet this too. Kind of gives them some, I think ammo in the arsenal.
I mean, it's a combination of that and the fact that Cohen's back. We just
I think everybody's expected to see like the offense when Will Levis first took over.
Yeah,
and you were seeing Wan'Dale Robinson and those guys make plays downfield, and it just hasn't been that. I don't know, if it's been a miscommunication thing. I don't know if it's been a chemistry thing with the wide receivers, because we have seen a lot of drops. It's not only been, Leary missing a pass here and there. It's also been a lot of drops. We saw a lot of those last night against South Carolina. My thing is that we've had opportunities to make plays. Like, you go watch a Georgia, you go watch an Alabama, and these wide receivers that go up for contested balls, they're going to make those plays. It just doesn't seem like we've been able to, for instance, like a Dane Key down in Florida going up against two defenders in the end zone and be able to pull it down. We've not had somebody make a play like that probably, since then. And so, I mean, it's kind of hard to sit here and say we can point fingers at one thing or another. It's just that at the end of the day, there's no really, you've seen what this offense can do when everybody's executing, their 1/11th of the war, their individual battle out there, and being able to, get in positions to get the ball thrown to you, get in a position to go make a play. But at the same time, you've seen the defense kind of come on and come off as well. I mean, they had a hell of a game against Florida, and then the next week they get ran up on them, I think, 250 yards of rushing offense next week after Florida. Mm-hmm. And so we've said this on the pregame show before, it's just that, you don't really know what Kentucky team you're going to get, because fully we haven't really put together a full, complete game, in my opinion, from an offensive side and the defensive side. And so when you got a red hot team like Louisville, who's now 9th in the country, and you got a guy like Jeff Brom, it's his alma mater, Louisville is sick into there. I think they were picked to finish 8th in the ACC this year, and now they're sitting at 9-1, 10-1, whatever they are, and sitting at number 9. So it's going to be
and they're averaging 440 yards of offense.
Yeah,
I mean they're over 100 yards more offense a game than Kentucky is. Obviously, they're riding a bit of a hot streak. We're on, a pretty substantial slump.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, it's just it's not the feeling that I thought we were going to have at the beginning of the year, or that the fan base thought we were going to have. So it makes it a little difficult, as a fan. And when you're constantly having to fight off the hype, right? Like that locker room with any sport, basketball does it all the time as well. You need to be able to shell out the outside, like you don't want to hear the noise, right? Mm-hmm. And that goes for both directions. You don't want to get too hyped up and, listen, like when I was playing ball, like we had 40-0 t-shirts, people walking around asking people to sign 40-0 t-shirts and things. That's not realistic either. So you never want to get too high or too low. But when you're hearing all this chatter about how good you're going to be, and then you come out and you drop a few, and now you go into, the Governor's Cup at 6-5, more than likely going to end the season 50-50 or 500, I guess. It's how, it just leaves a uncomfortable taste in your mouth. And it's, I saw one of the players today tweeted, the grass isn't always greener. Like it's not. We
got the finger pointing started.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it makes it
time for another players only meeting, guys.
But when you have that hype at the beginning of the year, right? It's not a bad thing. Like you want the excitement for the season coming, but at the same time, if things aren't going wrong, you drop a few, then, it starts to leak in and create issues within the locker room. And, you got people talking about how Stoops shouldn't be making $9 million to be 6-5. Like it's just, it starts this armchair quarterback and
it's a domino effect. Of just
it's an uncomfy position to be in, especially going into a game like this one.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Coach Stoops is getting paid $9 million to coach his team. But I mean, look at what he's done so far to be able to earn that $9 million. I think he's earned that $9 million, considering that. But here's the thing, though. I'm glad we're at the point now as a program to where we're not satisfied with 6-5, 6-6. I mean, hell, if you go back to 2009, 2010, all the way up through Joker's years, and even some of the first years that Coach Stoops was here, we would be begging for 6-win seasons, because we were always finishing 2-9, or 3 whatever, and we'd never get we haven't been to a bowl game since my freshman year in 2016, when the last bowl game we went to was in 2011. So we were on a 5-year, not even going to a bowl game streak. I mean, we were literally right there with Vandy being the laughingstock of the SEC. And so now you have Coach Stoops come in, implement his own program, implement his own, environment and his own, way of going about things, getting his guys in there and putting his positions. You saw 2 10-win season teams in a matter of 3 years. You've seen first-round NFL draft picks. You've seen multiple guys go to the combine. You've seen multiple guys get drafted. You've seen multiple guys still making plays today in these NFL games that we're watching right now. If you would have told somebody that in 2013 that this is what Coach Stoops is going to bring to the program, they would have laughed at you. Like, there's no way. Like, there's absolutely no way it's going to happen. And so, and I get the fan frustration of, we've been on the bubble. We've been to the point to where we're playing Georgia's to go to the SEC championship. We've had these high-stake games to where, we have to get over that hump if we want to be considered to be a legit, SEC football program. But at the same time, it's like we have the tools and pieces in place. It's just about going out and executing. And I think that's where, a lot of fans can sit there and say, oh, this is Brad White's fault. Oh, this is Coach Stoops' fault. Oh, this is Liam Cohen's fault. they're grown men, and as part of coaches, they're going to take that criticism. But at the same time, you've got to be able to, as a player, to go watch the eye in the sky, watch that film because it'll never lie to you, and say, one, am I giving my best effort on this? Two, am I reading the right reads if I'm on defense? Are my eyes in the right place? Three, offensively, okay, we can't afford to go out there and when we watch this film, see the opportunities that we give away because of stupid penalties and stupid mistakes out there on the field. So, I mean, I just don't like the finger pointing shit because at the end of the day, there's multiple fingers you can point, and 9 times out of 10, you got a finger pointing at somebody, there's 3 pointing right back at you.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got to have your own kind of capability and responsibility to yourself of, am I playing up to the best of my abilities? And so they're capable of winning. They have the athletes. They have the size. I mean, look at Deion Walker, what he did last night against South Carolina. That dude was a man amongst boys out there, dude. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know. I mean, this has never been we've never been able to put together a complete game. So coming up against Louisville, man, it's going to be really tough, I think, just because they're such an athletic team. You saw what they did against Miami last night, 38-31, I believe, the way that they fought and handled in there with Miami. And, they had a scare last week against Virginia. So, I mean, it's not like they're coming off of 2 wins that were, where they put anybody away. But at the same time, Jeff Brom, I think, first off, have you ever heard Jeff Brom, the interview that he did when he was in the XFL?
Oh, yeah.
Quarterback in the XFL.
Am I still breathing? Or do I still have a pulse?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. Let's play football. That is the most football guy comment that I think in the history of the sport. I mean, you can't get any more football guy than that.
Yeah. Does he have a locker room full of those guys?
I don't know, but I'm just saying to him as a coach, he's a dog.
I know.
He's a dog.
I'm asking, that goes a long way, but I'm just wondering, is Louisville struggled a little bit lately, even though they're only 1 loss on the season?
Yeah.
Do we have a shot?
I think if you go out there,
are they going to look at us like some slouches?
If you go out there and you play like you did against Florida, then yeah, you have a shot because dudes were dialed in. There weren't any stupid mistakes. There weren't any stupid penalties. You had guys on their P's and Q's about what their responsibility is play in and play out on both sides of the ball. And if we could be able to run the ball like that against Louisville and be able to stop them on defense like we did, fuck yeah, we're going to be able to have a chance. But if they go out and play these last 6 games, I think we've lost the last 5, or we've lost the last 5 out of our 6 games. Mm-hmm. So if we go out there and play like we did against South Carolina or Tennessee or Georgia or an Alabama, then yeah, go ahead and chalk it up for Louisville taking the Governor's Cup back to Louisville with them, which is absolutely sickening to think of. But it's come to that point. And I'm telling you, if Jeff Brom and the Cardinals get a chance to, they're going to light up the fucking scoreboard like
we've embarrassed them 4 years in a row.
I mean, they're going to light that thing up. It's at Louisville. I'm sure they're going to have some kind of, big, hype around, maybe new uniforms, maybe this. The good thing is I'm comfortable with is that it's a noon game. So I would be like, okay, go ahead and chop it up for a L if it was a night game. Just how different night and day games are, especially at noon from a 7:30 kick. There's a complete.
It's our 5th noon game of the year?
Yeah, I believe we might lead the Power 5 in noon games. I really do.
Have to.
I guarantee we lead the SEC.
I mean, we do ESPN College Game Day for local ESPN Radio, 1300 92.5. And
solid plug.
Yeah, well, we've been doing it at Campus Pub, right? Yeah. Which is a bar. I mean, our pregame show starts at 10:30 in the morning. 5 out of the 12 games.
Yeah, I know you people are hearing me. Those 10:30 a.m. tequila shots
they hit different.
They hit different. They really do. It's like they just seep right into your veins.
Oh,
straight to the jugular.
Yeah, so much so that you had to tap out on our tradition yesterday.
I did.
I'm not going to forgive you for that one.
Well, I mean,
that's why they lost.
Sorry. Okay, that's why they lost.
That's why they lost.
Yeah, we were sitting at what, 5 losses on the season or 4 losses on the season coming in.
Just saying.
Game? Well, sorry for trying to better myself, Todd. Sorry for that, dude. But
all right. Well, before we move on from college football,
yep.
we got to talk about. We touched on this a little bit yesterday with the pregame show, but we got to talk about the college football playoffs. It's the last year before it expands to 12 teams.
Yep.
Right.
So we'll wrap up. We'll wrap up with this Kentucky football talk as.
Oh, sorry.
Chalk it up as disappointing so far. I don't think there's any particular one or a group of people to blame. I think you can take accountability in every room, position room, even the coaching staff. I'm sure that they're on their, they take responsibility with everything that they do. And so at the end of the day, I mean, I just don't see any dogs. That's my biggest thing. I'm not seeing a dog. Ray Davis, maybe. But I've not seen just like an absolute dog on that team. So hopefully they get that shit figured out, because if they don't, Louisville's going to come in there and absolutely stomp our ass, and we're not going to hear the end of it. But we'll get into stats and everything like that later if we got some time. But yeah, going back to this college football playoff, it is wild to think about the possibilities.
Got 4 slots, right? You got the Big Ten champion, which is going to be
Ohio State or Michigan.
Ohio State or Michigan.
I'm going to chalk it up and say Ohio State. I bet Ohio State gets
I think I got Ohio State too.
Yep.
Although Michigan's got a lot to play for considering what's going on with them and Harbaugh.
But I think that...
But I still like Ohio State in that game.
Yeah.
Anna looked at me like I was crazy when I picked Ohio State.
Well, Anna's a Georgia fan.
That's true.
So.
That's true. All right, so you got the Big Ten champion. You got Washington potentially. You got Oregon potentially.
Well, the AP poll came out today.
Oregon, I think, is the best team in the country. Georgia, maybe, then Oregon. But Oregon's got an argument for it.
AP right now, you got Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Washington 4, Florida State 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Bama 8, Louisville 9, Missouri 10.
I'm taking Oregon over Washington.
Like if they played right now.
Yeah. I'm also taking, if you really want to get into it, Florida State's undefeated. Everybody's making an argument for them going in as the ACC champion.
I bet Louisville
undefeated.
beats them in the... Well, unfortunately, what happened to Jordan Travis last night, Dude,
yeah.
I'm telling you, that was the most sickening thing I've seen
saw it today.
that weekend.
I saw it today. It was terrible.
It was bad.
It's bad. So prayers up to him. Yeah. Prayers up to him. I'm sure Louisville will give them a run for their money now. But either way, all power to Florida State. I don't think that they deserve to be in the college football playoff. If they lose to Louisville now because their quarterback's out, then that obviously gets them out of the way and eliminates them, unfortunately for them. But if Oregon played Florida State straight up right now today,
but they got to have a healthy quarterback. They kill him.
Oregon would kill them either way.
Yeah,
I'm saying Oregon
you're
kills
saying
them.
Even with a healthy Jordan Travis.
Yeah, Oregon kills Florida State. So I'm saying if I understand the argument for putting Florida State in there undefeated, but Oregon to me is a better team, a better option for the college football playoff, a better product to put out there, to play for a championship. So what?
No, go ahead.
So I'm saying if you're looking at either Washington or Oregon, either Michigan or Ohio State, right? That's 2. Florida State would be out. Now the third slot, in my eyes, goes to either Alabama, who could potentially beat Georgia.
This is all if they do beat Georgia.
Correct. In the SEC championship. Could go Alabama. That means the back-to-back champions with one loss in Georgia could potentially be out, or Texas.
Well, they're going to make the argument if you try to put Bama in that Texas beat Alabama.
That's what I'm saying. So if it comes
down to that, that's how it should go.
If it goes Big Ten champion, Ohio State or Michigan, and either Washington or Oregon, then you got 2 slots to fill between Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. And I don't know how you could leave any of the 3 of them out. Is somebody burning incense in here?
Nah, ain't nothing on fire, cousin. I don't know. Maybe Rhea's upstairs.
I think there's incense burning somewhere.
Dude, if you smell that, you got a hound dog nose, brother.
Hang on a second. All right. Turns out it was Omar making ribs. So I freaked out for nothing. I thought, we just finished building this little stage guy where I wired those.
Todd's been on his Bob the Builder shit down here.
I wired those things underneath there, and I was like, if I burn this house down because I screwed up something, that would be terrible. So, nope. Just Omar charcoal in the grill, getting ready for the ribs.
Shout out Omar.
He's not with us no more. He ain't with us no more.
He ain't with us no more. But yeah, so this college football playoff thing. So if you're trying to leave this, you're talking about two slots open for a Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. I think at the end of the day, you have to look at what Texas did to Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That's got to be taken into consideration. And I think off that alone, that Texas should get the nod over Bama. But then at the end of the day, I just don't think even with a one-loss team, Georgia, to an Alabama team in the SEC championship, that dignifies kicking out the back-to-back national champions, depending on how bad they get beat by Alabama. Now, if Alabama goes in there and dirt rolls them, then you might be looking at a different story. But if you're looking at an Alabama team that went in there and they beat them by 3 or they beat them by 6 or 7, then I think Georgia getting beat by Bama by a touchdown still justifies them to be in the college football playoff, depending on if we think hypothetically what happens. But as of
So,
right now,
but if you're saying that, right? What you're saying?
here's the thing: we got to remember, first of all, that this is all based upon if Alabama beats Georgia.
Hypothetical, yeah. But
I think Georgia beats Alabama.
But if Alabama beats Georgia,
Yeah, but there's a lot
that
of
means-
ifs, ands, or buts.
okay,
We're
but
going
hang
into
on.
week 12.
I know, but if Alabama beats Georgia, here's the debate that concerns me. You're telling me that the number one team in the country after 12 weeks, who is the defending back-to-back national champions, who would only have one loss against
A red-hot Alabama team.
Yep. in the toughest conference in the country, doesn't make the college football playoffs.
That's what I'm saying.
That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's insane. Because to me, Georgia's the best team. Oregon's a close second. I like Oregon a lot. I just think they're absolutely on fire. I think Bo Nix is the favorite for.
No, Jaden Daniels is now the favorite.
Yeah, but I
Dude had 6 touchdowns throwing and 2 running last night, buddy.
I know. I think Bo Nix is probably going to edge him out. Well, we'll see. Either way, doesn't matter. I'm saying Oregon's up there. But other than that, Alabama, Georgia are 2 of the hottest teams in football. I don't see how, if Alabama comes in and beats the number one team in the country in the SEC championship, which is known to be the most tough conference, how you can take the double, the defending champions, back-to-back champions out of
Now, even if, let's say that, a Florida State, even without a Jordan Travis, they go in and let's say they beat Louisville in the ACC championship. Now you have a 12-0 ACC champion team. You'll have an undefeated Big Ten champion. You'll more than likely have an undefeated Pac-12 champion, and you'll more than likely have an undefeated Big 12 champion.
Yep.
Actually, no, that's wrong.
No, you'd have an undefeated Big Ten champion.
Not a Big 12.
Not a Big 12.
Not a Big 12. Okay. So 3 of the 5 power conferences.
ACC, Big Ten.
ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12.
And Pac-12.
Yeah. So you have Florida State, Ohio State or Michigan, and probably Washington.
You think Washington over Oregon?
I think so.
It's going to be a hell of a game. That's the biggest game of the year to me.
I think so. But hey,
that's Saturday at
right.
That's the game Saturday. But hang on, Michigan, Ohio State Saturday at noon.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
And then when's
won't watch the Kentucky
when's
game.
Oregon, Washington?
Probably that night. I guarantee it's game day. Has to be. Yeah, they may go to the Iron Bowl. Actually, no, they'll probably go to Ohio State, Michigan. Yeah, they always go to Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, I think it's at Michigan.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll have to look that up, actually.
I think it's in Ann Arbor. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, Ann Arbor, it's at noon. I'm talking about the Washington game.
No, I'm saying game day. I'm saying I think game day is in Ann Arbor.
Oh, it probably is, yeah. Probably is. But you know what's funny, though, and ironic about this whole thing? The Pac-12 is arguably one of the more funner conferences to watch this year. Holy shit, Kareem Hunt, what a fucking hurdle. By the way, go Browns, playing against the Steelers right now. 10-10 with 2:38 left. Oh, we might have to commentate this one, Todd. Anyways, before we get to the 2-minute warning, I'll give my explanations of all this shit. The TV deals.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why there's so many teams leaving the Pac-12. How about the Pac-12 having probably one of potentially the 2 best teams in college football? And they have that Apple TV deal fall through and everything like that. I think that's pretty ironic.
It's all nuts. Yeah.
But I think it's good though to see that, there's going to be good football spread all around the country, especially back in the Pac-12, because we've not seen like dominant Pac-12 football since Oregon went on their run.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the SEC, and I think
it's in Ann Arbor. And in Ann Arbor. Jeez. It's in Ann Arbor.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Sorry. That was going to drive me nuts till I found it. Yeah, so
but how cool is it going to be to have a 12 team next year?
I know.
That's going to be so cool.
And so, I mean, correct my ignorance here. God, I can't talk today either. There'll be two teams will get a bye.
I believe they would have to.
Right? Because it's 12 teams. 2 teams will get a bye, 5 games. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so.
But just playoff college football. Like
it's going to be great.
You get
so
multiple weeks of that.
When will it end? I mean, that
would back the national championship up 3 weeks, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be like right around the Super Bowl, wouldn't it?
No.
Super Bowl's mid-February, like the 10th or the 12th.
It might be like the week before the Super Bowl. Dude, imagine that.
On the off week of the NFL.
Yeah, imagine that.
In between the
super, like the 2 week.
That period. Saturday before would be sick then.
Buddy.
So it'd be Saturday would be the
national championship.
No, it'd be Saturday. Okay, so the Saturday before the conference championships, AFC, NFC championship games, that Sunday, the Saturday before that would be the Final Four of college football playoffs. Yeah. And then they would have their week to prep for the national championship, which would be, they play on Mondays usually. National championship games on Monday, usually, right?
I don't know.
Well, I think it is. They could do either way. They could do it on Saturday, and then the next week we'd get the Super Bowl. That would make for a pretty interesting late January, early February
that would
situation.
Be so fucking cool if they did that. I mean, come on, you got the national championship back.
I mean, they have to give them at least a week. I doubt they'll give them 2, like the Super Bowl.
Nah, well, they might. You never know. Like they're sitting there saying, okay, we've added games to the playoff,
but there's only a week between.
What if you had
games right now, right?
Okay, but what if you had a Saturday of the national championship and then that Sunday was the Super Bowl?
That'd be great. That
would be the
But
greatest.
that means they'd have to give them 2 weeks. More than likely. This is all guesstimating. I'm completely guessing.
Yeah, we're talking out of our ass here, people. We don't know what we're talking about.
That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what we're bullshitting in the basement. All right, let's move. You want to move on to basketball?
Is there anything else football wise? James Madison getting screwed even though they got beat by
let's talk. We can talk about that. Let's talk about that. I mean, it does take a little sting away now that they lost, but
yeah, but at the same time, though, I mean, still, they're probably going to win their conference.
That's because the fan base was probably completely exhausted by the time they actually kicked off. They'd been out there since
Friday morning when
they were out there Wednesday. They started holding down spots on Wednesday. That was the most packed house for college football. They were there for, like you said, McAfee on Friday.
I think they broke the attendance record for game day.
They did.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Again, the NCAA does not make a single good decision whatsoever, so they'll just continue to pile on all their bad decisions and just be like, just because we can. Give Reggie his Heisman back, put James Madison in for a bowl game. This is getting fucking ridiculous. But, yeah, now we can go to basketball now.
All right. Well, we can talk about how unbelievable Reed Shepherd is.
Yeah, that boy can play.
I mean, I knew he was going to be good. The kid's on, a tear, an absolute tear. He's leading. I'm trying to think back of my notes here because I don't have them in front of me. He's leading the team in steals, rebounds, field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage, and free throw percentage at 100%.
All coming off the bench, right?
Coming off the bench. Yeah. That's
pretty impressive.
And Rob Dillingham, who was my preseason pick to be Kentucky's most dynamic player, who I thought, it's been a while since Kentucky's had a guy we can just give the ball to and say, go get us a basket. The kid's an absolute born scorer. He's a freak. Just can put the ball in the basket every way. He's a threat on all 3 levels. It's just unbelievable ball player. And a freshman as well, also coming off the bench. And him and Reed have combined for 75 points over the last 2 games between Kansas and whoever the hell we just played, Stonehill.
Yeah, who the hell are they?
They're
Massachusetts, you said?
Yeah, Massachusetts team.
Damn.
But
what do you have in that game? He had 26?
He had 25, I think. 7 of 6 or 6 of 7 from 3, 7 of 8 from the field, 100% from the free throw line. I mean, just balling all over the place, making his presence known. And more importantly, or at least equally importantly, he's a leader. I mean, he's a freshman that's played 3 games of college basketball, and he's grabbing teammates and lifting them up. Even Edwards, who had a mishap play in the paint, I almost called him Jeff. Reed's grabbing him by his collar and pulling him in and talking to him. Not doing it for the cameras. He's pulling him in and, whispering in his ear hey, take a breath. You got this. And just being an encouraging an extension of the coaching staff on the floor as well. It's just unbelievable to watch. I know his dad Jeff's really proud. I saw him over at Rep before the game started. I got to talk to him for a second. They're just what?
Light went off.
That's all right. We can finish out.
Just going to sit here and act like I'm getting interviewed on 60 Minutes.
Yes. You mean turn that light off too?
No, that wouldn't be a good idea.
That means that
they do have the Browns Steelers, minute 32 left. Come on, 95.
Let's wrap this up and watch the rest of this game.
Make a play, 95. Come on.
I wish we could put a split screen up of what we're seeing.
Well, we can't. Copyright laws.
Yeah. Oh. All right.
Play. Play. So what are we 2-1 on the season?
2-1 against the spread as well. We didn't cover against Stonehill, but it was a 36.5 point spread, which I didn't even bet us to cover. That's a large margin, especially for the third game of the year. Our offense just isn't in sync enough to put that many points on the board, regardless of who your opponent is. That's a tough cover. And we did cover against Kansas. They gave us, I think it was 7.5 that game. Definitely thought that was going to be a tighter game. We had a 7-point lead at halftime. Had a chance to win.
You had a 10 or 11 point lead at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, but 7-point lead at halftime, and then coming out and kind of letting them get a little bit loose. Hunter Dickinson had like 27 and 21 or something, which is nuts. Just an unbelievable performance. But we're lacking 21 feet worth of big men in the paint right now. We got 3 7-footers out.
Yeah. When's the?
We're not sure of the timeline.
When's that Viking going to be able to play?
Not sure of the timeline.
Are we still waiting on the NCAA?
We are.
Well, as we know, the NCAA, they make great decisions all the time. I wouldn't be surprised.
It'll take them about 7 years, and they'll come back with a good one.
Yeah, once his eligibility is done, kind of like what they did to Enos Canner when he came here.
Yeah, but Enos was a bit of a different situation.
Was it because he played pro ball?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, so there's more to the story. Oh,
there's always more to the story.
Do tell.
There's always more to the story.
Did you catch that? Yes, he did. Let's go. Come on.
All right,
Brian's
let's wrap this up.
All right. Kentucky football been a disappointment so far. Hopefully we get back on track playing against Louisville, because I do not want to go with that Governor's Cup to those people up there wearing red. Kentucky basketball, what's your outlook for this? What do you think expecting so far here in these next couple games coming up? First off, do you think Reed will end up being a starter, or do you think that Cal will be like, okay, if he's doing this off the bench, let's not fix what's not broken?
It could be a little bit of both. I think he deserves to be a starter. I think he's our best player right now. And again, he's a leader. He's not just, getting lucky hitting shots. Obviously, things, you hit shots, sometimes you drop, sometimes you get in your head and you miss a few. You're not always going to shoot 74% from three, which is what him and Rob are combining for from 3-point right now. That's going to fluctuate. I mean, the odds are what they are, but they're playing extremely well, both coming off the bench. Both of them, I think, are the 1-2 punch that Kentucky needs and what's given us the edge to win some of these games. I think eventually they will end up in the starting lineup, but right now it's about who finishes the game. Both of them have been in at the end. Rob struggled a little bit with some foul trouble in the Kansas game, so hopefully he can avoid making some silly mistakes and slide his feet instead of playing defense with his hands a little better. In the long run, I think both of them will have their fair shot at getting into the lineup. But let's give it a little bit. Cal knows what he's doing. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been doing this long enough. He knows he'll figure it out.
Yeah, it seemed like they just, they have. I was telling somebody this the other day that they seem like they have a little bit more dog in them. Like I saw some dudes getting forehead to forehead with some dudes. I was like, okay, they didn't do any of this last year.
No, I'm more hyped on this team than I have been since I got done playing. This is the most excited I've been for a Kentucky basketball team since 2015.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's wrap it up right there, and then we'll keep it on right here because there's only 48 seconds left of this Browns game, and we'll give these people a live reaction. So we'll be back every week starting next week. We'll have Brandon back here in studio with us, and we'll have some guests be able to get lined up and talking to you guys. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you all for tuning back into the season 2. We'll be bigger and better this year. So let's watch this Browns team win this game.
Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.